Good evening, fellow Zimbabweans. Last time when we spoke about
Gharama
investigation
data
of
mshaona action
Geza.
yataka kutora
Okay, last time
about
we
these
spoke
criminals,
about the impeachment plan
about vidananda izvi
to remove Emerson
havana kunyanya
Mnangagwa
kuwanda.
from power by
Isu va
blast.
16 million
Not by blast Geza,
totsvemedza navanhu vashomanana vakadai ava
but Geza didn't
noda nokuti vanourayana ed
parliament to remove
tiri
Emerson
kusvika kuda ed
Mnangagwa. So today there's been the
but tiri
headline
kutanga neivava.
Blessed Geza
Mark my words.
has made an announce on himself today is that Emerson Mnangagwa that he was sick. Okay, basically let's just read it all together, right? So in his Twitter account, which I assume is actually owned by Blessed Geza, he said that fellow Zimbabweans, I greet you and I hope I find you well. Since my last address on the 2nd of April, I have not been well for 11 days until yesterday when I start to feel much better. I have been battling with diarrhea as for meeting. I suspect foreplay that I no longer trust people around me as some members of the SARS must be around me, and I strongly suspect that they intend to eliminate me, but I am convinced that I will never die before our goal of reclaiming Chinu Chedu from Emerson and his corrupt cabal succeeds. So basically that was the message that Geza wrote to his Twitter, and a lot of people reacting to it. The ZANU-PF people kind of went on to say that Geza is old, Geza is finished. This is like a accepting to concede defeat to Emerson Mnangagwa. Emerson Mnangagwa is outmaneuvered the Geza faction. Now, I don't want to claim like I know what is happening and I know who's move and who's doing the best move or this is an intelligent move. No, but I will try to make some sort of a educated guess here, like what is happening. Remember when I spoke about the impeachment, I said that Blessed Geza announcing things like impeachment and announcing the 31st rally, that seems to be, I don't know, it kind of like puts your enemy already knows who you're striking, so they will obviously reinforce those areas. They will be waiting, they will be on guard. Do you get what I'm saying? But the moment when he says parliament, the moment when they say that they're gonna pursue a motion of no confidence in Emerson Mnangagwa through parliament, my immediate assumption was that listen, Parliament has strongly been pro Mnangagwa since the beginning. We look at the two speakers, Mundende and Mabel Chinomona, which is the Speaker of Senate and then the Speaker of National Assembly. We need half of that, like a joint sitting, half of it at least agreeing that Emerson Mnangagwa must be sacked out. And in order for even such motion to pass, I say that you need both speakers to allow the motion to go to the House. And the speakers have shown previously that they are pro Emerson Mnangagwa. So then I ask myself, is people that are working with Geza intelligent enough to discern or to see this type of things? Now, I'm pretty sure that they are not all stupid, or I'm sure that they know what is happening. They know who is for who. They know what Mdende is for who, and they know what exactly is happening. But maybe there is things that we don't know that they probably know, like if the motion would pass, because you wouldn't say that you're impeaching Mnangagwa without fully knowing of what's happening. So another thing is maybe it could have been also a tactic to test Mnangagwa his reaction of what's happening, because again you cannot tell your enemy where you are going to hit them first or where you are going to hit them. Like you can't tell, like, even in fighting, like let's say it's a fifth fight, so that's exactly what is happening here. So it's either the Gazers are completely lost and they do not know what they are doing, or they know what they are doing and they are working within the intelligence, right? Another question here a lot of people seem to ask, like, has Geza had any effect? Did he make any dent to Emerson Mnangagwa? Because it seems as if the regime of Emerson Mnangagwa, the people like Potungwarara, and the people like what's this guy now? The people, all these people that are pro ED 2030 seems to be continuing his life as if it's normal, and there is nothing that has stopped. I mean, let's look at it. The 31st came. 31st was never successful. Oh, okay. I think I'm being biased when I say it's never successful. The 31st of March didn't go exactly the way that you would think that everyone would be on the streets to out Emerson Mnangagwa. It was more of a stay away. In some case, it was successful because, I mean, people they didn't go to school, they were scared about that. So if some random guy like Geza says that and people actually don't go, things actually come to a full stop, it means maybe it was successful to some, but maybe in the context that the one that we didn't expect it, like not in a way that we expected it. But then we move further to the side when we think about Anunzanu, when we think about did it do a dent in the 2030? I think so, yes. Remember, there was supposed to be a motion that was drafted for parliament by February that Emerson Mnangagwa would be like, what do you call it? Like the National Assembly would vote to have a referendum to extend presidential terms. And that referendum, like that motion in parliament has been delayed. So far, parliament hasn't voted. That is when the Gezas came out and they were speaking on full volume. And we see that Emerson Mnangagwa or whoever is perhaps part of the ED 2030 plan, they kind of like withdrew and they went to online insults. Now they're not in the state and they went into more campaigns and doing all of these campaigns like giving people sugar and doing all of those things. Now that's kind of like what their aim is nowadays. It's not necessarily that they go out and they're like, no, we're going to parliament and they're going to sing 2030 and we are going to vote Emerson Mnangagwa in 2030. So by that alone, I think to some extent people like Blessed Geza have done quite enough um in deterring the ED 2030 plan. Now I'm not gonna say like again, I'm not gonna say like I know, and I'm not gonna act like other content creators that are out there that are telling you as if they have intelligence, they sit in these meetings and they know exactly what is happening. In fact, most of us we don't know what is happening. We kinda like are curious to know what is happening, right? But in that sense, Geza won. Now, I think Geza did more than Chamisa in this case, is a front of the opposition or is a front that is the opposition to ED 2030. I mean, for starters, Chamisa, he has been quiet about it. It's speaking about God's. I think the most. Okay, in fact, I need to show the guy's picture here. I think the most that that guy has done in this about this ED 2030 thing. Wait, I think the most that this guy ever did about the ED 2030 was just posting like no more to suffering, no more to this, no more to this, but not necessarily saying that he's anti ED 2030. And the problem is that whenever people even have a comment about Chamisa, a lot of people go and attack that person. But this person has been stalling our. It feels like a drag at this point. He's been stalling the momentum, the frustration that the people have. The opposition ground is fertile in Zimbabwe to oppose. Like, it's so fertile that the people are willing to accept individuals like Blessed Geza as their opposition to the current regime, and even hype Blessed Geza, forgetting about all the things that they've been doing while people like Nelson Chamisa have been standing there. I mean, what is happening? Why do we still have to go out there and defend Nelson Chamisa? Whether whatever Opo Uchingono said was true. Opo Uchingono might not be a saint himself, but whatever he said was true. There were 2 million votes, more than 2 million votes that actually went to the Triple C. Pastor Tafumane Messiah died. He left his kids. A lot of people were stoned. A lot of people faced intimidation when they were campaigning for the Triple C. People donated 140,000 US dollars for Chamisa to get a car or something of that particular sort. Today, I ask the simple question: why is he given the platform to simply walk scot-free without giving any due explanation, like what is happening, or without even with some sort of accountability? We have people that are defending President Wedu. I think we have to say enough with this. I mean, if we really want a country, or if we really want to be free one day, we need to start asking ourselves fundamental questions like, what would our leader actually have to look like? We need to ask ourselves, we need to start practicing some quality control when it comes to this type of candidates. This guy led us into elections in 2023, knowing full well there was no plan to divert what happened in 2018. Even called some of our protesters that they were stupid, or the way that they acted, their conduct was unnecessary. So we can't keep on pouring on Nelson Chamisa. We can't keep on having him. We can't keep him relevant anymore. I think it's just time for Zimbabweans to realize that there is nothing that is gonna come out of this. A lot of people say God is in it. I mean, look at Kodakwashi, Richmond Tagwere. He's a SDA pastor, for goodness sake. He's involved in running with these, or has shared the business schemes with Emerson Mnangagwa. He even supported the regime. He even supports regimes that have killed people. So why does it seem as if you think that everyone that says that there is God there is actually an angel? The same thing must apply to Chamisa. We need to ask ourselves critically those questions in order for us to even consider moving forward as Zimbabweans. So this is very important. I mean, I feel that it's just important it's just as important to realize and recognize that Chamisa is no saint. Morgan Changirai, I think he built a very good empire, a very good brand called MDC, only for it to be run down every time claiming ZANU-PF is infiltrated. Even his own party, ZANU-PF, is infiltrated. What's next? Now we have people like Geza that we are actually, people are pouring into, and they tell you this. Geza might be a criminal or might have been involved in ZANU-PF, but who else should we look forward to? We have a person that is called Nelson Chamisa, and I very much am starting to entertain the idea that this guy Nelson Chamisa might just be an informer for ZANU-PF, or might just be another project for ZANU-PF, or specifically Emerson Mnangagwa. And a lot of people, I don't know why they're afraid to even question that truth. Just what if there is this white guy that speaks Shona? I think he was the first one to, like, he's a famous TikToker. I'm not talking about Marshall Weparenki or something like that. Ring Marshall, I'm not talking about him. But I'm speaking about the other one. He speaks Shona. What he said is, what about the V11s? I mean, he says that we know that things do happen badly in Zimbabwe and the elections are unfair, but we need to start asking this question. What if? What if? We must have that curiosity, like, but what if I'm not being told the truth here? What is happening? It's been, I mean, 2028 would mark 10 years. A baby that was born in 2018 would be 10 years by 2028. And this guy will still be saying God is in it. Anyways, like I said, did Geza flop with this plan? Is he now exposed, or does is Chiwenga team, what is this, at odds? Like, what is this? Are they not really finding successful? Is Mnangagwa's team, or is the Mnangagwa faction ultimately stood much stronger than the Blessed Geza faction? And what will happen from here? Will they just simply accept the ED 2030? Because one faction, one thing that's for sure, with a lot of online content creators that have been telling you Mnangagwa is in Saudi, Mnangagwa is ran away, they are moving their things out of Zimbabwe, they're doing this, they're doing this. We still see the same person every time. And he is actually making political moves that we can all see. So then the question begs, what is happening? You tell me Mnangagwa is in Saudi, so run away, then he comes back. So what is happening? So what content? Like, don't say things that you feel like people want to hear. Yes, we all want. We can't wait to see the back of Mnangagwa, all of us. But don't lie. Speak the truth. You don't know. You don't know. Don't come to what is this YouTube and speak about Mnangagwa Zut, Mnangagwa Zut, Mnangagwa Zut, Mnangagwa Zut. Don't come and say those things. In fact, if there is only one platform that people should probably follow with regarding to Zimbabwe or even political analysis, I would suggest what is this, a YouTube channel called Taffy the Man. I think it does a better job. It does a better job than anyone else because it simply doesn't try to predict what is it, not predict, but it simply doesn't try to tell you like he sits in the intelligence or he is some sort of an informer. He knows he is a former CIO. He doesn't do that. He simply just tells it as it is, what he thinks is happening. But still, we have a question, we have a burden for us here Zimbabweans to answer. What's next? Where are we going? Is Geza still, can we still trust the Geza faction? I mean, let's be honest here, the track record is not really that quite clear, right? Mnangagwa must be out by February. Mnangagwa doesn't go out. 7 March, we are what is 7 February. Mnangagwa, your final warning. Mnangagwa doesn't go with the final warning. Of course, there's tensions that we can see there. There's visible tension. Then the 31st of March, Mnangagwa doesn't go. The impeachment, Mnangagwa doesn't. But the arrest of Blessed Mhlanga, I think the first person, if they wanted to prove that they're a stronger faction, or if they want to prove that they meant business, I think the first thing that they would have done politically to get people on their side is to get Blessed Mhlanga out of prison. Because he has done nothing. In fact, he's been nothing but their yoga. But now, if Blessed Mhlanga is in prison, and we ask this question, if Blessed Mhlanga is in prison and we ask this
Garama
question,
katenga
what
data
if I
mshaona action
participate in
yatawa kutora
these, what if I participate in these Geza things? What if I participate in these anti-Mnangagwa things, like maybe protest action, a demonstration? What if I do all of that? What if I do all of the above and I end up like Blessed Mhlanga? I am frustrated with Mnangagwa, but are these people going to come to my aid? Am I being used like a bargaining chip for politics? People, they don't want that. Perhaps that's what people like. That's what the Geza faction is not getting. If they want to really get the people, they need to get Blessed Mhlanga out. Maybe if some of their members actually sit in one of those courtrooms just to hear what justice to be served, maybe they could start a separate political movement. But they all want to eat from the same barrel. They all want to eat from the same ZANU-PF. That's why they don't care about Blessed Mhlanga or what is happening here. And ultimately, it's destroying their image. And I would believe that ED has outmaneuvered them there. At least, I don't know about the impeachment, I don't know about the 31st. I would say that it's 50-50, or they're busy playing tit for tat games, or they're busy playing confusion games. But one thing that stands for sure, public perception is their reality. If they see that people like Blessed Mhlanga are actually locked behind bars, the innocent people, and most of Zimbabwean citizens are innocent people, if they can just be locked behind bars for simply doing their job, imagine if you are being locked behind bars for maybe supporting a protest action on command of case. So